Hello, I'm Jonathan Milam here with a review of a wonderful little cornet. This is a King SilverSonic made by the Ian White Company. It was made in around 1965, and I believe that the Ian White Company sold out to UMI in around 1970 or 71. So this was one of the later horns that they made. For years, Mr. White, I'm told, was very fond of horns with a sterling silver bell, and certainly made more, I think, than any other, at least American horn maker. For years they used silver tone as the name of their horns, and in the probably 30s, 40s, 50s. At some point, though, Sears had been selling a horn made, I believe, by the Blessing Company that they called a silver tone. Didn't have a silver bell, but they called it the silver tone. I'm told that there was a lawsuit that was resolved in favor of Sears, and so Ian White began calling theirs SilverSonics, perhaps sometime in the 50s. At any rate, 1965, you see the development of this trumpet here. I'd had silver tones in the past, and in fact have two silver tone trumpets now, which I'll probably be making some videos of shortly. It's the first sterling silver-belled cornet that I've had by the White Company. And just a couple of things I wanted to point out. Of course, you've got the slide ring here, valve pull on the third valve, which works very nicely. This cornet is in very, very good condition. For a vintage horn, it's absolutely extremely wonderful. On the first valve for the slide adjustment, you've got a trigger, which I really don't lube up because I don't actually use my third or first slides very much. You do have a trigger, though, which when I first saw it, I thought, oh, it's an aftermarket edition. But I believe this was a factory-made trigger. I've seen them advertised by the White Company in older advertisements where they do list this as a factory option. And I really do like triggers. In fact, I like them on the third slide as well, better than the pull, frankly. Another thing that I find to be very beneficial, and I've mentioned this on some vintage horns before, you have a tuning screw here, which is almost an inch long. And the benefit is, if your slide is in and you want to pull it out just a little bit, there's no tugging. You know, you pull and it comes out ½ an inch, you push and it goes in 3/4, and you know. But here you've got a very fine measurement. You can unscrew this for about an inch. And another thing, I did have a cornet by King, wasn't the silver bell, at the same time that I had a Con, and they were both the same wrap, the same appearance roughly. But the King hides the threads of this on an interior way. It's a little difficult to explain, but it's such a quality product. It's just really a pleasure. Concave finger buttons, so you feel like you're drawn right to the center of the finger button for your playing. And having said all of this about the horn, solid sterling silver bell, which is said to really have somewhat greater overtones and able to handle great volume. Unfortunately, after talking about it, I have to play it. And we'll give it our best shot. We'll just tootle around in the low range to give you an idea. I do have a Curry vintage cornet mouthpiece, large throat, deep V cup for a large, dark, beautiful, I hope, sound. Valves are plenty fast for me. All right, we'll try a song I was tootling around. I'm not even sure I play it, the melody the way it's written, Somewhere Over the Rainbow. My son said, now that is a nice dark sound. And we'll see what you think. Very nice horn, really one of the better vintage horns I think I've had. I admire the way the horn makers were making their horns in years gone by. And of course, you can get the same thing these days if you want to pay 3 or 4 times as much. Okay, now we're putting in a shallower mouthpiece, a tighter back bore, and we'll give you an idea of the brighter sound that this trumpet can achieve. See if you recognize the one song people seem to like out of Cornet, When the Saints Go Marching In. Should have a good sound to it. I really hope it does. Our range is never what we want, but we'll try and give you an idea of the upper register. And that is, of course, your F above high C. And just see how it sounds up in that range. Sounds okay to me. King SilverSonic from 1965. Wonderful instrument. Thanks for joining me.